After a little over 9 years from its streaming release, we finally have a physical release for the Tatami Galaxy. Thanks, Funimation! I mean that sincerely because now I have an excuse to talk about it. Airing in spring 2010, this series gained a reputation as an experimental art piece and, more recently, as the spiritual predecessor to The Night is Short Walk On Girl, both coming from novels from Morihei Tokihiko. And much like other series that share that reputation, it's ended up highly praised yet highly underwatched. I actually didn't think I'd get much out of this because, and I know this is a sin, I thought Penguin Highway was a little overrated. But when I watched the Tatami Galaxy, it hit me like few other shows do. That said, it is a show that sends you reeling right away. You're thrown into the series with a super fast monologue that made me really glad I could speed read the subs. Like, I wish I could send this to the customers who complained that I talked too fast at the call center I worked at when I was 18. But our nameless main character is a university third year who feels like he's wasted his youth and lives through alternate realities where he joined different clubs and friend circles in first year and had a better time. Up until he doesn't, and when he hits a low point, time restarts again. It's been compared to root splits in visual novels and not of the KFC variety. And it really works the way that a lot of the best of those work. Branching choices, or choices held in front of the protagonist, are more than their face value. For example, a love triangle isn't just a character picking between two people, but also making a choice with regards to what those people represent, like taking others at face value versus looking past the exterior, or lashing out against the world versus working within it. When the main character in the Tatami Galaxy chooses different clubs and different social circles, he's projecting what he thinks would have given him a better life onto them too. Because he isn't just traveling through time in a world of trippy visuals. Instead, he's contemplating alternate paths for himself and then his thoughts run off with him. The constant structure of happiness to bizarre conspiracy to life-ruining mistake no matter which choices he makes reflect his own imagination as much as they reflect the reality he lived. Especially with the ending, where the world starts to warp even further and reflect his state of mind. And when it becomes clear that that's the case, it hits emotionally and personally. This is where the Tatami Galaxy goes from a strange and fascinating experiment to a painful exploration of your own uncertainty in the same way that we saw last year in A Place Further Than the Universe. Its protagonist spends the entire series wondering, why am I lonely? Why am I miserable? Have I wasted my youth, wasted my life because it didn't end up the way I imagined? And while the situations that end up ruining his happiness are of course unrealistic, they all come down to that fear and that reality. Sure, you probably didn't find that your softball team was actually an apocalypse cult run by a health food company, but maybe you became disillusioned by needing to rely on corporate sponsorship. Maybe you didn't try to steal a guy's love doll, but maybe you did fall for someone you knew you shouldn't have. And after a series of tactical strikes to the viewer's heart, where past investment in the story, you yourself are thinking of how you might have hurt yourself and hurt others, that's when the main character falls into his deepest despair. But he drags himself up because even though he felt he couldn't move on and escape, even though he felt that the tatami room he lived in might as well be his entire world, he has to at least keep trying. And what brings him out is love, but not someone saving him with their love. Rather, he realizes that he feels love, that his feelings are real and important and worth it, that the love he always felt and was too afraid to act on is worth feeling and living for. It's that brings him back to reality in the present, where he finally confesses his feelings for Akashi, faces the people he hurt before, and even saves Ozu and offers support to him. Ozu was always the one in the imaginary time loops and in real life who dragged him into schemes that ruined his life and those of the people around him. The show up to this point shows dating Akashi as the good path and being friends with Ozu as the path that leads to ruin. But here, the protagonist realizes love is taking risks, and everyone deserves love of some kind. Being his friend anyway, but offering help to Ozu instead of falling down again with him is probably the best way this show could have ended. It's true that no one's the same, but we've all failed, we've all hurt, and we've all wondered what would happen had we done something different. The Tatami Galaxy connects with that part of the viewer and tells the harsh truth that there is no perfect path. You're always going to screw up, and you're always going to get hurt and hurt others, but you have the capacity to love. And it's that can help you move on instead of being stuck in a mire of what-ifs. That is what the show's about in the end, and that's how it connects to the viewer's heart. I just hope that it can help someone who needs it. In a world where most of us seem to be chasing the latest seasonal anime, I look forward to more people checking out the Tatami Galaxy because it is as special as it's been made out to be. Let me know in the comments which shows you think are underwatched that should get more attention. This is Secret Identity Studio, and stay away from health food cults.